My name is Andrew Finney. I'm a pharmacist at Perkins Drugs and the owner of Perkins Drugs, which has been in continuous operation in Gallatin, Tennessee for 121 years. It was established in 1895 and has had 6 owners in that period of time, of which I'm the 6th and sole owner of Perkins Drugs. We're a suburb of Nashville, about 25 miles northeast. What we're known for at Perkins Drugs and our business philosophy is taking care of our community and our patients, just like they were our own family. I'm a believer, and my faith is the biggest part of who I am. And in Matthew chapter 7, verse 12, it says that we should treat others the way that we want to be treated. And so that's our philosophy for how we take care of people, is would we want that done to ourselves. And so that's the mentality that we approach things with. And it serves us well and would serve us all well to take that mentality and to how we take care of patients and work with one another. On an average day, we'll run somewhere from 400 to 450 prescriptions per day. That will vary based on the day of the week. We have a fairly robust synchronization program, and so earlier in the week, we tend to run higher numbers, somewhere in the 600 to 700 range, and then it tapers throughout the week. On Friday, we're running anywhere from 200 to 300 because of the workflow shift that comes along with synchronization program. We have 4 pharmacists, one of which is a resident through Lipscomb College of Pharmacy, and he will be with us for a year, and we'll have another resident at the end of this year. That will terminate in June, and we'll get a new one starting in July. Other than that, we have myself as a full-time pharmacist, and I have 2 other part-time pharmacists on staff. We have 9 technicians on staff, and on any given day we'll have 3 to 4 technicians in the pharmacy. We'll also have 2 to 3 technicians in our synchronization program, which is in another area of workflow in the pharmacy. So at Perkins Drugs, we have 4 pharmacists and 9 technicians on staff. So the technician load required for utilization with the RxSafe prior to acquiring it was about 2.5 to 3 technician equivalents. With the RxSafe, that has dropped to 1.5 to 2, depending on the workflow, and also, again, it's a factor of our synchronization program, because in our pharmacy, in our circumstance, we fill from 2 different areas, so there's essentially 2 different workflows occurring under the same roof. So the number of technicians required to fill prescriptions prior to acquiring the RxSafe was 2.5 to 3 technicians. After acquiring the RxSafe, it is around 1.5 to 2 technicians, depending on our workflow and our synchronization program load that day. So our typical patient will span a number of ages, but predominantly we have a strong Medicare and senior adult population that we take care of. We do. Prior to acquiring the RxSafe, we had purchased an Icon, which obviously accommodates nicely to the RxSafe, but for about 5 years we have been utilizing a Max in our daily dispensing of prescriptions. We have other automation that we have used. We use a Max and have had one since 2009, and we also have an Icon that we were using prior to the RxSafe. So when we purchased the RxSafe, we turned the Max 90 degrees and put it right alongside it. So when you go into our pharmacy, there are very few shelves, and there are 2 large machines right next to each other, relatively large machines next to each other, that accommodate the majority of the workflow and the prescriptions coming out of the pharmacy each day. We utilize other automation as well. We have a Max, and we aligned the RxSafe parallel to the Max, so they work right alongside each other every day. Utilizing both the Max and the RxSafe, it's safe to say that we effectively dispense 90% of our prescription volume each day through the pairing of these 2 machines. We had a number of challenges prior to purchasing the RxSafe. Most of them centered around inventory management and the effective management of the inventory that we had. Some other challenges that we experienced were expired medications, having a way to identify those in a rapid manner versus taking a few days with a number of technicians identifying those drugs that were soon to expire. We also work in a very tight and confined space. So bringing the RxSafe in actually freed up quite a bit of floor space in the pharmacy department that enabled us to utilize that space for other activities. One challenge with human resources is that turnover can affect our productivity and our management of our inventory. Bringing in the RxSafe helped us eliminate that problem, and so having the RxSafe to manage those parts of the inventory that we were having difficulty with has streamlined the way that we take care of our prescription drug inventory. We struggled prior to the RxSafe with how to manage inventory on a regular basis. We had each technician trained for a certain section of inventory, trained individual technicians to take the whole inventory over a period of days. None of these ultimately worked well. After struggling through a number of solutions to our inventory management problem, I was made aware of the RxSafe at the 2015 PDS conference. We have experienced burglaries in the past, and the RxSafe provides a peace of mind going into the future. We've experienced burglaries in the past, and knowing that the RxSafe is C2 compliant and a lockable safe physically actually improves our confidence to help decrease diversion in the future. We've experienced burglaries in the past, and with the RxSafe, it gives me confidence moving into the future that we will have much less to worry about with regard to burglary. We've experienced burglaries in the past, but with the RxSafe being C2 compliant, gives me great confidence moving into the future that this will be less of a concern moving forward. The criteria that I had in mind for a solution were mostly inventory control through technician training and human resources. On the last day of the PDS conference in 2015, the exhibitor got up and spoke about the RxSafe. By the end of his talk, my mouth hit the floor. I knew that I had to go check out this machine, and I made it to the booth at the very last minute when they were taking the machine down and not doing any more demos, and I said, please, you have to demo this machine for me. I believe it's got an answer to a problem that I've been searching. After learning more about the RxSafe at the PDS conference last year, I realized that this was a great tool that would solve a problem that I had been searching for an answer for many months. When the RxSafe was being demonstrated for me, there were salespeople and there were engineers present, both of which were very informative and had all the answers about the machine that I needed. Obviously, I wanted to learn more, and so for the next few months, I spoke to a number of different pharmacies and pharmacists that utilized the RxSafe, as well as a number of people in the industry to learn more about it. The most attractive feature about the product was the ability to remotely handle all of our inventory, to have it neatly organized, and to be able to run reports in a matter of minutes that used to take me a number of days and a number of technicians to complete. A couple of my main concerns about buying the product were obviously the cost. In our industry, reimbursements are not going up for the most part, and so paying for it became a concern. The company was very good about working with me on that and payment terms. And then the other concern that I had was functionality. Was it actually going to do what it promised? And to my delight, it has. It's done a great job at what we purchased it for. One of my concerns was the functionality of the product, and was it going to actually deliver on what it promised that it could do? And to my surprise, it's done it very well. I've been very pleased with the product. My experience with the product has been very positive. We had a team come in and assess our site and talk about best placement. The installation process was very smooth, and the installers were very, very professional. So the whole process went very well. The training provided to myself and my staff was terrific. The trainer actually happens to live in Nashville, and so it was very helpful. I immediately got his personal number and said, if we have a problem, I'm going to call you. And we did not have to call him much because the training was so thorough. With service support for the RxSafe, we have found that we are taken care of almost immediately. We are able to contact customer service very quickly and get the answers that we need to get our problem solved. I think the way that Perkins Drugs working with the RxSafe has changed the way that we do business. is predominantly through our workflow. It has enhanced and streamlined our workflow with regard to inventory management, putting up our order each day, and then also retrieving and accurately dispensing our medications. Working with RxSafe has changed the way that we handle our workflow on a day-to-day basis. It has enhanced our ability to put up and maintain our inventory as well as dispense accurately. Our pharmacy's workflow has been impacted the most through efficiencies that come from working with the machine and putting up our inventory, dispensing products in a rapid fashion through retrieval through the RxSafe as well. As a pharmacist and owner, the feature that I like the most is obviously the reporting. Our technicians work with the machine every day, day in and day out, putting up the medications, securing the inventory, and retrieving it to dispense. But as a pharmacist, my favorite feature are the reports that I can generate at a moment's notice, which used to take a number of days and human resources. The feature that I like most about the product is the ability to retrieve the reports and get the information that I need very, very quickly. So a specific area that we've seen a tremendous savings in time is being able to reassign technicians to other duties where they were previously required to do inventory management responsibilities. Specifically, we've been able to reassign one of our technicians to our packaging process for our synchronization program, effectively eliminating 30 to 40 hours per week of technician time. One of the things we're able to do now that we were not able to do prior to purchasing the RxSafe is to effectively scale our synchronization program so that we're more profitable as a pharmacy. Okay. The quality of care has improved with the addition of the RxSafe, especially with regard to dispensing controlled substances and the accuracy of that dispensing process. Prior to purchasing the RxSafe, we had implemented some measures to reduce on-hand inventory amounts. After adding the RxSafe, we were effectively able to reduce inventory after 6 months by 15%. Prior to purchasing the RxSafe, we had implemented a number of measures to reduce on-hand inventory amounts. After purchasing the RxSafe after 6 months, we were still able to reduce on-hand inventory amounts by 15%. After consultation with my tax advisor, his recommendation was to not utilize the Section 179 reduction due to some special circumstances. RxSafe is a solution to a growing problem of inventory management in any pharmacy. The most significant impacts after adding the RxSafe to Perkins Drugs was the space savings in an already crowded pharmacy, accuracy with our dispensing process, an automated inventory retrieval process that only enhanced our workflow, and the ability to generate reports in minutes that used to take days.